Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today, we're being joined by Tommy L. Ray, author of Ramblin' Across America, the tale of one country boy's unstoppable dream. Tommy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope you're having a wonderful, blessed day.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, sir.
All right. Question number one. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
The biggest thing I would suggest first is ensure you have a successful mentor who can help guide you along your route. The second thing and most other important part that I was told is read as much as possible on marketing, branding, even in your niche. Look at anything and everything you possibly can to research, become almost like you have a master's degree. I personally was told to always use professional editors, professional book designers, because you want to make it look like you're a Stephen King. You want to compete with the big boys. You want a quality product when you place it. A lot of patience. This is not something you just turn out in 24 hours. This is something, it's a rite of passage. It's passion. You want to do everything you can to put your heart and soul in your book and understand your genre. What other people are using for book covers, what audience do you want to attempt to reach. Make sure you understand proper copywriting, because obviously you want to sell your book. So those are the main things that I utilize, in order to try to make my book successful as possible, as pretty much a small fish in a big world.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
For me, I spend hours every day reading articles about marketing, anything and everything I can get my hands on about being a successful author. I feel like I'm following all those steps, but it still sometimes feels like you're banging your head against a wall and no one's listening. So that's why I think the biggest thing is if you can know someone who's already doing what you desire to do, like a mentor, that would probably be the biggest step. But you also have to be careful. I was approached by many companies who said, hey, for such and such price, one was even up to $6,000. We'll take care of everything for you. But when you're only making, $2 a book, you got to sell a lot of copies just to reap your $6,000.
Exactly. The one thing you do not want to mess around with is a company that promises you the moon and the stars and doesn't deliver. And, full disclosure, my company, we're Hybrid Publishing, and, when we talk to clients, we're very clear about this. We're like, we don't promise the moon and the stars. The main focus is, it's not about the royalties. It is about how you leverage the book, how it's marketed successfully, but most importantly, utilizing it for the back end, making sure that you got a product, a service, something tied in with that book. So it's a product launch, not just a book launch. And that way you can recoup your investment as soon as possible. Because you're right, there are companies out there from anywhere from a few $1,000s to $50,000 to $80,000, especially if you want to get on those Wall Street Journal lists, bestseller lists, and all that. So you have to figure out what's going to be the best investment for you, but you've also got to make sure that you're working with a company or with a mentor who can help you with leveraging it for the back end, because that's the true way that you're going to make money back on your book. It's not going to be about the royalties, because there's millions of books out there.
I certainly agree. And normally I read a bunch of articles like how to become the $100,000 a year author. And most of the simple advice was you just have to put books out. You need 15, 20, 25 books out, because it may take 15 of those books to finally get your name out there, or that one reader comes across your book, reads it, leaves that great review, and all of a sudden it starts to snowball for you.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
So far, like I mentioned, I've tried to get a master's degree in how to become a successful author by reading everything I can get my hands on. The easiest and straightforward thing I've tried that's worked the best is the simple Amazon ads. I mean, I've done the Facebook ads, the Instagram ads, Twitter ads. I even use the online radio show, BookBub, daily posts on all my social media. I have the web page, I have the newsletters, but it seems like the Amazon ads produce the most book sales for me, personally.
So in regards to Amazon ads, what are some things that people can do to create successful ads with Amazon marketing services?
I usually go back toward the copyright. You have to write something that's going to catch the person's attention, because like you mentioned, if you go on Amazon right now, there are millions of books. And my book, even though it's a personal, true adventure that I pray that would inspire people to show them that life is short and go live your dreams, I'm basically competing with rock stars, because rock stars also write books similar to mine. So they already have a set audience of millions of people who want to read about what they do behind the scenes. I was just some guy who quit his job, lived in a truck for 6 weeks, playing music, trying to live out my dream. So my audience is much, much smaller.
So what type of ads were you creating for it to be successful? Because you mentioned you've tested BookBub, you've tested Facebook ads, and myself, I'm not a big fan of Facebook ads personally, but I do feel that Amazon in particular, and BookBub to an extent. But what are an example of an ad that you created that was successful?
Basically, I think if I'm not mistaken, you have to do everything you can to say, do your hook in like 125 words or less. So I just kept finding ways to show the benefits and interest level to what my book may do for you to try to catch that attention span. So I either tried, writing a question, imagine this, imagine that, and usually those would still, for me personally, did not return. Like if I paid $25, I may only get 3 book sales from that. So I'm still trying to tweak and find ways where I can pay $25 but maybe see a $250 return.
Got it. Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
My favorite book so far of all time, I've probably already read it at least 25 times, is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And I feel like by reading that book, even though in theory I understand it's a fictional book, I feel like there's so many underlying messages that utilize some of the laws of attraction, some of the things that you hear from speakers like Jim Rohn and Wallace D. Wattles, from the old school guys. Basically, we all have a treasure to find, and it's most likely not where we think it is, which is the frustrating part. So we might hope it's in location A, but it turns out to be in location C. And so we have to just maintain our burning desire, unwavering faith, patience, persistence, and ultimately you have to trust your inner instincts to keep moving forward and acting daily. And by doing all those things, at some point, it may be days, weeks, months, it could even be years, you will finally reach whatever dream life that you're searching for.
And for our final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Recently, I read a quote by a Danish philosopher, Søren Kierkegaard. It says, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. So basically, I felt like it says you just got to let go of the past, keep maintaining your present state, act daily, believe in yourself, and just maintain your positive, optimistic thinking that you're on the right journey and you'll accomplish whatever you desire to.
And Tommy, I want to thank you once again for being on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
The easiest is my website. That's just www.tommyraybooks.com. But like all people, I have a Facebook, a Twitter, and an Instagram account, and that all falls under Tommy Ray Entertainment. So you just type me into Google, it's all going to come up, even about my music, my inspirational blog, and even my YouTube channel.
Well, Tommy, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm truly appreciative and greatly grateful.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.